Hello students, this is your teacher Gautam Dafra, and today we are doing the first chapter of O Levels Economics, that is the basic economic problem. So before going directly to the first chapter, let us understand what do we mean by economics. Okay, so economics is a study to allocate the scarce resources in the most efficient way. Okay, so over here students, you need to know that humans have scarce resources, humans have limited resources to fulfill their unlimited wants. So when we have limited resources, so when we have scarce resources, so economics helps us to use the resources in a way that it is most efficient, so that these resources are available for the future generation, so that we may not run out of these resources. Okay, so economics is a study which will help you to understand how to use your scarce resources in a way that it is the most efficient way, so that it may not run out for your future generation. Okay, so now let's move ahead. So now coming towards the first question of economics, that is the basic economic problem, the first problem of economics. Okay, so basic economic problem. So basic economic problem says that humans have unlimited wants. Yes students, we all know that humans have unlimited wants. Let me give you an example. Right now, if you want to buy a MacBook Air or a MacBook Pro, so you will be satisfied for a limited time period. As the new model comes up, so you would want to buy that new model. Okay? So your wants are unlimited in nature. The wants are reoccurring in nature. If you want to eat a burger right now, okay, so by the end of the day, you would want to eat a pizza. Okay, if you buy a new dress right now, then you would want to buy a new cell phone. So humans have unlimited wants. This is in the nature of humans, that humans will have always unlimited wants. Their desires are unlimited. They want to buy everything. Okay, so wants are unlimited. So in order to satisfy the wants, we have limited resources. Okay, so we have limited resources. That's what we've already discussed over here, that this resources are scarce, or we have limited resources over here. Okay, so when we have limited resources to fulfill all the human wants, so we have the problem, or we can say that the economic problem, and that economic problem is known as scarcity. Okay, so scarcity means basically that you have shortage of resources to fulfill all the human wants. Okay, so this is the basic economic problem, and I'm repeating it once again. The basic economic problem is when you have limited resources to fulfill all the human wants. So the basic economic problem comes up towards scarcity. Okay, so let's understand wants over here. Wants are unlimited desires of life. Yes or no students? Yes, we have just discussed that. If you want to go for you can say a cricket match, okay, after that you would want to go to your relative's house. Okay, if you buy a new car, you would want to buy a new house, you would want to buy a new dress. So human desires or human wants are always unlimited. Okay, they are reoccurring in nature. Okay, they will always keep on occurring and occurring. Okay, so then let's understand the concept of resources. Okay, so over here, resources in economics, it means resources are the goods and services available to produce goods and to produce other goods and services. Yes students, so over here you need to understand that resources are those goods and services which will help you to produce other goods and services. Okay, so resources are basically the inputs which the producers will use to produce other goods and services. So without resources, without these inputs, you are unable to produce the other goods and services. Okay, The inputs, resources are the inputs required to produce goods and services. So in economics, resources are known as factors of production as well. So if in the exam they have written factors of production or they have written resources, it would mean the same. So the resources are also known as factors of production as well. Okay, so in economics there are four types of resources. In economics there are four types of resources, or there are four factors of production which will mean the same. Okay, so the first factor of production is land. Okay, so land actually in economics does not mean the physical land, okay, the premises. It includes all the free gifts of nature. Okay, so whatever is given by God, whatever is given by nature, okay, and it can be used to produce goods and services. It can be used as inputs. Okay, it can be used as an input to produce goods and services. So that will be known as land. Okay, so land is anything which is given by nature as free gifts and can be used to produce goods and services. So given to us to produce goods and services. Okay, let me give you an example. Okay, so crude oil is given by nature. Crude oil is given by nature as free gift, and we use crude oil to produce petrol, diesel, okay, and many other goods and services. So it is, crude oil is used as an input. Okay, it's a byproduct so that you can produce other goods and services. See, so and services. So example, it can be air as well. Okay, next, sunlight as well. With sunlight you can also produce solar energy. Okay, mountains, with mountains you can get you can say the gemstones from the mountain. Okay, gypsum as well. Okay, and you can get marble from mountains as well. Natural resources like crude oil and everything. Okay, so the second resource or the second factor of production is known as labor. So labor is basically the mental and physical effort performed by human beings. Okay, it's performed by human beings. Okay, mental effort and physical effort performed by human beings to produce goods and services. So when a human being is providing you the mental effort and physical effort for the production of goods and services, and against that effort, if the human being or if the labor is getting a monetary reward, so then only that person will be considered as labor. Okay, so if the person is not taking a monetary reward, so that person will not be considered as a labor. Let me give you an example. Students, supposingly if your mother is cooking food for you, okay, for your birthday party. Okay, so your mother is providing mental effort and she's also doing the physical effort, and she is producing delicious food for you, but she's not taking any monetary reward over here. So in this scenario, your mother will not be called as a labor. Okay? So in economics, anyone who provides you the mental and physical effort and produces goods and services and takes monetary reward like wages and salaries, so then only that person will be called as a labor. Okay, so labor is of two types. One is of skilled labor. Okay, so the skilled labor is the person who has acquired specialized skills either by attending a college, okay, university, or a training center, or through on the job training. Okay, so if the person has acquired you can say specialized skills by attending a college, university. Right now you people are studying O levels, so the reason why you people are studying O levels is so that you people can become skilled in future. You have attended the school, you will be attending the college in future, and probably the university as well, and on the job you will be getting a specialized training as well. So you will be the skilled labor for future. Okay, so the second one is known as the unskilled labor. So unskilled labor is the person who lacks specialized skills, okay, and performs regular tasks, okay. So his job is to perform the regular tasks, okay, and does not have any specialized skills to perform a job which require minimal skills. So he has minimal skills and he's performing regular tasks over here. One thing we need to keep in mind, students, skilled labor is specialized, okay, in a particular field, okay. So he would be paid more because he is providing his specialized knowledge and his specialized experience. So skilled labor will be paid more than the unskilled labor. Unskilled labor is just performing the regular tasks. He has minimal skills and therefore he will be paid less because his job is mostly the physical work. Okay, so let's move ahead. The next resource. We had 4 types of resources. So the first one was land, then we had labor. Now the third one is capital. Capital is the third resource or the factor of production as well. So the third resource is capital is all the man-made resources which are required to produce goods and services. So students, anything which is made by man, it's man-made, okay, and it is used to produce goods and services is capital, okay. So capital can be a machine, okay, the machine is made by man and the machine is going to help you to produce goods and services, that will be known as capital. Any equipment, okay, internet can also be capital because it's made by man. Technology, any sort of technology, software, hardware, okay. Even the building is not land, okay. Building is capital because building is made by man, okay. So building is also capital. So, and technology. So now let's move on with the next resource. Okay, over here students, we need to keep in mind one thing, that money is not capital, okay. So if in exams, if you write money as capital, money can be capital in business studies, it can be capital in accounts, okay, but in economics money is not actual capital, it will be known as financial capital, okay. So you cannot just write that money is capital, it can be known as financial capital, okay. So you need to keep this in mind, okay, as it helps us to buy capital goods, okay, just like building, equipment, machinery and all. So let's move ahead towards the fourth resource or the fourth factor of production, that is enterprise. Okay students, enterprise is the person who takes risks, okay, the risk taking and the decision making ability, okay, the person who takes risks and makes decisions, okay, to make the business successful, and the person is known as entrepreneur, okay. So entrepreneur is the businessman who is going to take risk and he is going to make decisions to make his business successful. So enterprise is the fourth factor of production, or you can say the fourth resource, okay. So entrepreneur is the one who combines, yes, so entrepreneur is the one who combines the other 3 factors of production or the other 3 resources. The other 3 factors of production is land, labor and capital. So the entrepreneur is going to combine the 3 factors of production or 3 resources, that is land, labor and capital, and is going to produce goods and services, okay, to start a production process. So students, let's move ahead. So the basic economic problem in context of, yes, so we need to understand the basic economic problem Okay, just repeating it once again, the basic economic problem is scarcity, and scarcity means the shortage of resources to fulfill all the human wants. So over here we need to understand the concept of the basic economic problem in context of multiple, you can say, stakeholders. Why we are doing this? Because this is the, you can say, one of the requirement of his syllabus, and the examiner is very much interested to ask this question. So the first stakeholder is the consumer. Okay, so consumers, so what will be the opportunity cost, or sorry, what will be the basic economic problem so for consumers? So what will be the basic economic problem for consumers? It will be consumers would want to buy all the goods and services in the world. Yes, because their wants are unlimited and their wants are reoccurring in nature, so they would want to buy all the goods and services in the world, but unfortunately they cannot do so as they have limited resources, they have limited money left. Okay, and they have limited time to do so, so they have limited resources. Okay, next is workers. For workers, what can be the basic economic problem? So workers, if workers choose to work, they would not be able to enjoy the leisure time. Yes, so the workers, if the workers would choose to work, so they would not be able to enjoy the leisure time. So that's again, you can say, the basic economic problem. They have unlimited wants. Okay, so they cannot actually fulfill the unlimited wants over here. They want to enjoy, but they cannot enjoy. Okay, they cannot fulfill this want because once they are at work, they cannot enjoy. Okay, other than that, workers have limited income as well. Okay, so with limited income, they would have to choose again, either they should continue with this job, or they can start up a new business. Okay, so with that limited income, they cannot actually start up a new business as well, and once they are at the job, they cannot start a business as well. So that can again be the basic economic problem for workers. The next is producers. So for producers, would want to produce all the goods and services in the world. So producers would want to produce all the goods and services in the world, but due to the lack of resources, they have limited resources, limited factors of production, land, labor, capital, enterprise, producers cannot produce all the goods and services in the world. Okay, so this is again the basic economic problem for the producers. Okay, then we have the government. Okay, so the government of any state or any country, they will have limited resources. Even the richest nation would have limited resources. They cannot fulfill all the requirements of their people. Okay, so that comes up over here, basic economic problem. Okay, so due to lack of resources, you can say that due to the shortage of resources, due to limited resources, the government is unable to invest in all the projects it wants. Okay, so this is the basic economic problem. Let's just revise it up once again. Consumers cannot buy all the goods and services because they are limited resources. Workers cannot fulfill all their wants because of limited resources. Workers cannot enjoy if they go to work. Okay, if workers go to work, they cannot, you can say, join university, or they cannot join somewhere, an institution where they can get training. Okay, because they have limited resources. Producers have limited resources, so therefore they cannot, you can say, produce all the goods and services in the world. And government over here has limited resources, so government cannot, you can say, invest in all the projects of the world. So let's move ahead. The basic economic problem. So yeah, so let's move ahead, let's understand. So inputs, process and output. Okay, so inputs we have already discussed that factors of production or resources will act as inputs. So there are four factors of production, there are four resources: land, labor, capital and enterprise. Okay, so these are four factors of production, or these are the resources, four resources. So these resources will be processed and the output will be in the form of goods and services. Okay, and when you do this, it's known as production. And when the consumers are going to buy this, they will consume these factors of production, so it will be known as consumption. So, okay, so production is production is when resources are used to produce goods and services. So resources are used to produce goods and services, or when resources are used to produce output. Okay, it is known as production process, which can satisfy the needs and wants of the human beings. Okay, so very important. So production is when resources are used, okay, when inputs or factors of production are used to produce output, goods and services, and those goods and services are produced so that human beings can satisfy their needs and wants. So this will be known as production. Okay, then let's understand consumption. So when goods and services are used, consumed to satisfy human needs and wants. Okay, so when you can say the consumers would buy, when consumers are going to consume goods and services so that their needs and wants are satisfied, so it is known as consumption. Okay, let me give you an example. Right now I'm using this laptop, so I'm consuming this laptop so that my want or need is required. Okay, so types of output. Okay, so there are two types of output, that is goods. Okay, so goods are known as all the tangible material products. Okay, so goods are all the tangible material products. Okay, over here tangible means which you can see and touch. Okay, tangible, anything which is material, anything which is tangible, it's a product, and which could satisfy human needs and wants. Okay, so that will be known as a good. Okay, so for example, this iPad which I'm using right now, it's material, it's tangible, I can touch it, and it would help human beings to satisfy their needs and wants, so that will be a good. Okay, that's the first kind of output which we are discussing right now. Then we have services. Okay, services is any intangible human effort. Okay, so services are experience. Okay, and this experience is created by human beings by providing their human effort. Okay, and that effort is intangible, you cannot touch it, you can just experience it, you can just feel it. Let me give you an example. For example, if I am teaching you, you cannot touch the services which I am giving you. Okay, you can just experience it, you can just feel that. Okay, so health services is an example, you cannot touch the health services. Okay, tuition services, okay, you cannot touch the tuition services. So services is an experience, you will have a good experience as well, you may have a bad experience as well. So any intangible, you cannot touch the service, and this service is produced by human effort. Okay, and it helps you to satisfy your needs and wants. Okay, so next is types of goods. Okay, so we have several types of goods that we need to study in economics. The first is known as the free good. Okay, so free goods which are provided as free gifts. Okay, goods which are provided as free gifts by nature, and they are unlimited in supply as well, and has zero opportunity cost. And they have zero opportunity cost. Let me give you first help you to understand what is opportunity cost. Students, opportunity cost over here means, for example, if you have limited resources, for example, if you have limited land, okay, if you have land, if you decide to use your land for agriculture, if you decide to use your land for agriculture, so first basically you have two options, either agriculture or you can use your land for housing. So if you decide to use your land for agriculture, so what is left or what you cannot do is housing. So whatever which you cannot do, okay, while choosing something, so that will be known as opportunity cost. Or opportunity cost means whatever we leave or whatever we lose, or the benefit which we have left. So we have left the benefit of housing, we decided to go for agriculture. Let me give you one more example. For example, as a consumer, I have limited budget, okay, and with that limited budget I decided to go for an MacBook. And the second option which I had was HP. So I decided to go for MacBook. So what was the second option? The second thing which I left was HP. So I was unable to get the benefit of HP. So this HP will be the opportunity cost. Okay. So briefly I've explained you this opportunity cost. We will understand in much more detail as we go ahead with our lectures. Okay. So students, so let me help you understand what they mean by free goods. So free goods are provided by nature. Okay, for example, sunlight. Okay, sunlight is unlimited in supply. Air is unlimited in supply. Okay, we have beaches. You can say the water in the beach. Okay, that will be unlimited supply, and it has zero opportunity cost. What do you mean by zero opportunity cost? If one person is using that, so the other person will not have to reduce its benefit. Both can use that. Nobody has to leave the benefit. Okay. For example, if we talk about sunlight, if Mr. A is using sunlight, so Mr. B can also use the sunlight. Nobody has to leave anything. Nobody has to reduce their benefits. Nobody has to reduce the benefit, okay, to avail this free good, sunlight over here. Let me give you one more example, air. So opportunity cost was whatever we leave. If Mr. A is breathing, so Mr. B can also breathe at the same time. So there is no opportunity cost. Both can avail the benefit. Nobody has to leave its benefit. So there is zero opportunity cost. So therefore it is known as a free good. Okay. So you need to keep this in your mind. And the examiner is very much interested to ask this question in MCQs. Okay. So example is air. So if Mr. A is breathing, Mr. B can breathe too, Mr. C can breathe too. So nobody has to leave its benefit, okay? Has to reduce its benefit. So coming towards the next, you can say type of good, that is known as the economic good. Okay, students, over here, economic good means the goods which require factors of production. The goods which require factors of production to be produced, goods which require factors of production to be produced and sold at a price. Okay, so yes, we have already understood the factors of production: land, labor, capital, enterprise. So anything which requires inputs or factors of production, okay, to be produced, so and it is sold at a price. Why it is sold at a price? Because when the producer is going to put these factors of production, land, labor, capital, enterprise, so the producer would have to bear some cost. So the producer will actually have to pay the rent of the land. The producer would have to pay the wages and salaries to produce this economic good. So the producer would have to pay interest on capital, and the producer may also have to give profits to the enterprise. Okay, so while producing this economic good, so the reason why it is sold at a price, because the producer has incurred some cost, okay, over here. So economic goods are limited in relation to demand. Yes, as you're using inputs, as you're using scarce resources, and when the scarce resources are limited, so the goods produced by using these scarce resources will also be limited in nature, okay, limited to demand. The demand will be high, but they will be limited. So has an opportunity cost. Yes, so it has an opportunity cost as well. For example, over here, let me explain you. It is limited in nature, okay. So for example, it's a car, or let's suppose it's an iPad, okay. So if there is only one iPad, because it's limited, so if Mr. A is buying this iPad, Mr. B cannot buy this iPad. So it's an opportunity cost over here. And one more concept related to this opportunity cost can be, so in order to buy an iPad, Mr. B would have to use his savings. So he has to leave his savings so that he can buy this iPad. So savings can become the opportunity cost. He has to leave his savings, okay, so that he can buy this iPad. So here there is an opportunity cost, okay. Example, car. The next is merit goods, okay. So merit goods over here, merit goods which cause a positive impact. Yes, these are the goods, okay. These are mostly the services, okay. These help, or these goods provide the positive impact to not only the consumer but to the third party as well, to the society as well, okay. Here the third party is known as the society. For example, if one person is healthy, if one person gets the health care, so because of that one person, the society will not become ill, or the society will not be ill, just because that one person is healthy, that one person has had the health care, okay. So over here, merit goods can be education as well. If one person is educated, it not only provides benefits to that person, but it will help, or it will provide benefits to the society. How? For example, once that person is educated, in future that person can be an entrepreneur, and he can provide goods and services, he can provide job opportunities. So merit goods are the goods which not only provide benefit to the person who is consuming the good, but it will also, you can say, provide the benefit to the society, okay. Next is demerit goods. So demerit goods are the goods which cause negative impact, not only to the person who is consuming this good, but to the society as well, to the third party as well. For example, if a person is smoking, okay. So if a person is smoking, or you can say, yes, smoking a cigarette, so he himself will have the negative impact, okay. His health will deteriorate, and that smoke caused by smoking will actually be a cause of passive smoking to the society. The society's health is also deteriorating. The society's health is also at risk. So demerit goods are the goods which not only actually reduce the, you can say, it not only actually deteriorates the health, or it not only creates a negative impact of the consumer, but to the society as well. So let's move ahead with the next good, that's a public good. So public good is the goods which are produced by government, okay. These goods are produced by the government, such as street lights, okay, such as roads, and these goods are produced by using the tax revenue, okay, by using the tax revenue, as it lacks the profit motive. Yes, one thing to remember over here, public goods are produced by the government, such as street lights, roads, and the government produces these goods by using the tax revenue, okay, and Why the government produces these goods? Because these goods actually increase the welfare of the people, the benefit of the people. These goods are not produced to attain profit, or street lights are not produced to generate profit, roads are not used to produce, or the roads are not produced to generate profits. These things or these goods are produced to maximize the welfare of the society. So that is the reason the government produces it. The private firm will not produce it because it does not have any profit motive over here. Next is consumer goods. So consumer goods are the goods which are produced by using the factors of production. Yes. So again, the 4 factors of production are used. Okay. So basically 4 factors of production are used in economic goods, in merit goods, in demerit goods, in public goods, okay, and in consumer goods as well. And these goods are used for direct consumption, okay, are bought for direct consumption, okay. For example, bread, butter, okay. So this is the concept of consumer goods. Let's move ahead. Okay, then we have producer goods. Producer goods are also known as capital goods, and these are the goods which are used to produce other goods and services. Okay, so these are the goods which help you to produce other goods and services. These are capital goods like equipment. Okay, the producer is going to use this good to produce the other goods and services. So we have completed the understanding of goods. Now we are going to move towards services. Okay, so services over here means there are the first type of services, producer services. So producer services, again, services are intangible. So intangible experience or intangible effort, okay, provided to the producer to produce other goods and services. Okay, so any service which is provided to the producer, and the producer is using that service so that he can produce other goods and services. For example, the bank. So the bank is providing the services to the producer so that he can import and export. Okay, let me give you one more example. Transportation. So transportation is actually provided to the producer. Okay, transportation is provided to the producer so that the producer can transport his goods and services. Okay, one more example can be the services of the labor. The labor is providing the services to the producer so that the producer can produce its goods and services. So these are the services. Okay, one more example can be advertising services provided to the producer so that he can advertise his goods and services. So this is the these are the examples of banking services. Okay, then we have consumer services. So consumer services is intangible experience or human effort provided to satisfy human needs. Yes, these services are bought or these services are purchased for direct consumption. For example, the health services are consumed directly by the patient. Okay, so the educational services are directly consumed by the student. Okay, so the intention is to satisfy human needs and wants. And in producer services, the intention is to produce other goods and services. So consumer services are intangible experience to satisfy human needs and wants. Example is education. Okay, so we have completed the whole chapter, the first chapter, the basic economic problem. Let's move ahead with the questions. Okay, so let's do some questions so that we may be able to understand or gauge our learning. So the first is, what does an economist mean by the factor of production known as capital? Okay, so capital, we all know that capital is a man-made good, and capital helps us to produce other goods and services. Okay, so so money is not directly capital, it is financial capital. Okay, so that is the reason A is the right answer, because goods that can be produced or that can be used to produce other goods and services. Okay, resources that cannot be replaced is not the right answer. The profits is not the right answer. Goods which help us to produce other goods and services, okay, that's capital. Now the next question that we have is, what is not a factor of production? Okay, so what is not a factor of production? Let's see. Okay, so student secretary can be a labor. It's a factor of production. This cannot be the right answer. A photocopier is capital because it's a machine which will help you to photocopy. So that is capital. An office is not land, it's capital because it's made by man. Okay, and that office can help you to produce other goods and services. So this bank note is not a factor of production. Okay, let's move ahead. Economists refer to factors of production. Which is not a factor of production? Which one is not a factor of production? So let's get started. So students, the staff in the office is known as labor. They are providing you services. Okay, the machinery is capital because it's made by man. Then the fields of the farm, the fields are God made, God has given the fields. Okay, so fields is land. Okay, so the shares of the company is not a factor of production. Let's move ahead. Okay, let's do this question. What makes choice an important element in the basic economic problem? Okay, so over here, yes, the right answer is B, because when we talk about limited resources, we have limited resources, we have limited land, we have limited labor, we have limited capital, we have limited resources. Okay, so whenever you have limited resources, you would have to choose where to use the resources. Either I gave you an example previously. Okay, so you would always have to make a choice that where to use your resources. Either you can use your land to produce educational services, either you can use your land to produce health services. So you have limited resources, you would have to make a choice, because these resources have many alternative uses. Okay, so your land has many uses, your labor has many uses. So that is the reason choice is an important element in the basic economic problem. Okay, so let's move ahead with question number 5. Question number 5, what is a factor of production? Yes, a factor of production is a resource used to produce other goods and services. So these are some of the MCQs that we have done. Let's move ahead with the question bank, paper 2 type questions. Okay, section B. So give an example. Yes, so students, let's do the first question of section B. Give an example of each, define the 4 factors of production. So you need to give an example of the 4 factors of production and you need to define it as well. So it's a 4-mark question. Okay, so the answers would be, number 1, the first factor of production is land. So let's define it. So land is all the free gifts of nature. Okay, given to us to produce goods and services. Okay, so the example will be air, sunlight, okay, mountains. So we have given the examples. Okay, natural resources, we given the examples as well. We have defined it as well. Now let's define labor. So labor is actually the mental and physical effort, which we have already studied, performed by a human being, okay, to produce goods and services, performed by a human being to produce goods and services for a monetary reward. Yes, if that effort is for a monetary reward, okay, so then it will be known as labor. Okay, so example can be teachers. Teachers are providing you the mental effort, the physical effort, so that yes, against that mental effort, physical effort, the teachers are getting salaries as well. And why teachers are providing you this mental effort and physical? So that you people can study, so your need or want can be satisfied. Okay, so example is also over here, the pilots as well, the doctors as well. Yes, the third is capital. So capital is anything which is made by man and it is used to produce goods and services. So all man-made resources which are required to produce goods and services. Okay, made by man and is required to produce goods and services. Example is building is made by man. Okay, technology and helps to produce goods and services. The fourth is enterprise. So enterprise is the risk taking and the decision making ability of the entrepreneur. Okay, and the enterprise combines the other three factors of production as well, so that it can produce goods and services. Example is the owner of the Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg. Yes. Let's do question number B. Explain the nature of the economic problem. We all know that the nature of the economic problem is we have unlimited wants, and in order to satisfy the unlimited wants, we have limited resources. Okay, so that's what the nature of the economic problem is. The nature of economic problem is we have limited resources to fulfill all the human wants. Okay, therefore ending up having scarcity. So scarcity is there. So let's move ahead with the third question. Okay, let's see what the third question was. The third question is define resources. We all know that resources are the goods and services which help us to produce other goods and services. Okay, so let's move ahead. So resources are the goods and services available to produce other goods and services. Okay, next is resources, also known as the inputs required to produce goods and services. Okay, and resources are known as factors of production as well. Okay, let's do few more questions. Okay, what is meant by economic problem? Yes, economic problem is shortage of resources to fulfill all the human wants, that because we have scarcity. Okay, shortage of resources to fulfill all the unlimited human wants. Okay, leading to, or it will lead to the basic economic problem, that is scarcity. Okay, so now the next question is explain why car is an economic good. Okay, so we all know that students, car is an economic good because resources are required to produce cars. Okay, so factors of production are used to produce cars and are used by the producer to produce it. Hence, the producer would be producing a limited amount because he would have limited resources, so he'll be producing limited cars. Limited amount of cars, creating shortage, and once there is shortage, so in relation to its demand, so people will have more, people will be demanding more cars, but there will be always a shortage of that. So that is the reason it's an economic good. Economic good is limited in supply. Okay, and therefore it has an opportunity cost as well. If Mr. A would buy that car, so Mr. B cannot have that car, that's an opportunity cost. Or if Mr. A wants to buy the car, he would have to leave, or he would have to use his savings to buy that car. So this is why it is an economic good. So keeping in mind two things, that economic good is limited in supply, okay, in relation to demand. It's limited in relation to demand, okay, because it's scarce, and it has an opportunity cost. In order to buy this car, the person would have to leave his savings, so he would have to leave something. So students, this is it for this chapter. See you next time. Till then, take care. Allah Hafiz.